You're listening to Guys on the Sideline podcast, where you'll hear opinions, predictions, and sports takes in every direction. If you're a diehard sports fan, this is the place to be. They've never played. They have no experience, but they have plenty to say. And now, here are the Guys on the Sideline.
Hey, everybody, welcome on in to Guys on the Sideline, the podcast. This is episode number 18. And ladies and gentlemen, it's NBA playoff time. We're getting excited here on the podcast. And this one, I can promise you, this episode here is going to get a little heated, a little interesting. I got my buddy from Houston, Texas. Dim, welcome back.
Hey, everybody. How are you guys doing? Glad to be back. Anything I say, please do not take it personal, Utah Jazz fans. Just letting you know that up front. I want to throw that out there, okay? That includes you, JB.
So, Dim, I'm glad that you're joining. You were on a previous episode. I think we were talking March Madness a couple episodes ago.
Right. Of course.
You actually you did okay. You predicted Houston to go far. I think you talked Texas Tech.
Tech.
You're a Texas guy, so
Texas
you were
guy, of course.
You were Baylor. You were talking Baylor and other.
Baylor didn't work out.
Texas Tech looked good though. I know they fell in the end, but great season.
Still, I thought it was quite well. But hey, guys, again, just like last episode, before I get in with my expert opinion, I want to send a shout out again to my lovely family. And also, I've got a couple of other people that I need to shout out that I missed last time. First, we'll start off with Rachel Martell, a.k.a. Telly, Laura Kelly Gonzalez, LKG. I just wanted to send a shout out to you guys. Brooke, Desi, want to shout you guys out as well. So, hey, let's get this ball going.
Let's get it going. And I think, Dim, you predicted, or we got into that episode, you were talking a little bit about Houston and some of the memories.
Right.
And you were talking, I remember you said Gonzaga's a lot like the Jazz, like they can't get it done. And I think you kind of, again, predicted that, hey, we're going to get back in the booth when Houston and Utah play in the playoffs. Now, at the time, I thought that might have been like a second or even a conference finals matchup.
Right.
But first round, Jazz, Houston, kind of crazy that we're talking now about this series.
Right. So, hey, one other person I missed, well, actually two people, Niels and Jill, because Niels actually is a good friend of mine. He was like, hey, Dim, the reason you sounded so cool is because he said I didn't sound like a homer on the radio. Because my thing is this, I'm going to be completely honest about the Jazz.
Are you calling me a homer? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, you got those purple blinders on, man. Whatever the Jazz colors are nowadays,
I think we're going to be yellow when we host.
Yeah, that hideous yellow that you wear. But that's fine.
So, Dim, are you done with your shout-outs, or do we need another 5 minutes with your shout-outs? Come on, man.
No more shout-outs. Let's get right into it. Right here, guys. You heard it here first. Rockets, 6 games. Throwing it down now. Rockets in 6.
See, so I feel like I'm in a little bit of a disadvantage in that obviously Houston has the home court.
Right.
Houston has the better record. Right. I think Houston has the superstar. Mr. Harden's probably going to get a call or two. Right. Those step back threes, which I don't think that's a travel when he does the step back. I think the league's going to adjust the rule because I'm coaching my son's team. And you'd be amazed at how many of these kids are doing step backs. And I'm like, cut the James Harden crap out, boys.
Right.
Keep your pivot, dribble in. Come on, man.
But that move is lethal. So here is my thing. I'm going to lead right into it. The reason why I think the Jazz loses in 6 games, it's not because I don't think that they have the team talent. I think it's more a sense of urgency on the Rockets' part. I mean, does that make sense to you, Jeff?
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is for the simple fact that our window of opportunity is closing really fast. I think we only have 2 years at the most
I agree.
With Chris Paul.
Chris Paul.
So I think 2 years at the most. So we have to get it done this year, no later than next year. You know, the Jazz, great team. You know, Rudy Gobert, I feel like, you know, underrated. He's not quite there yet offensively for the Jazz to make it to the final. I think they need more than Donovan Mitchell. They need more, because if you remember, the last time the last time the Rockets played the Jazz, Clint Capella killed Gobert. Killed him. You can't dispute that. Killed him.
I agree with you.
Oh, yeah, I know you do.
I'm speechless.
Yeah,
but I think you hit on something that's really key here.
Right.
I think Rudy Gobert is the key to this series for the Jazz. We know that he's going to play well defensively, Defensive Player of the Year.
Right,
candidate,
exactly.
Right?
Yes,
He's the
sir.
man. If he can play well offensively and up his game, I think it puts the Jazz in a position because, again, I'm in a disadvantage here. We're the underdogs. Totally get that. Okay. Kind of felt like we were going to land Portland in the first round and felt a little bit better about that. The Kings Portland comes back and beats the Kings the last game of the series, and that's what swapped this. And so, anyway, the Jazz face off against the Rockets. And let me just say this, though.
Okay.
Let me mention Chris Mumford, who's a regular guest on this show.
Right.
He's off today, and so I messaged him and said, "Who you picking? You know, we'll include that in the podcast." He said Houston in 6. So you've got Houston in 6.
Yeah.
He's got Houston in 6. I'm going to go out here and say this right now, and you tell me to take my glasses off. All you want. Utah in 6.
Oh my!
This is wild. Not even 7. They're not even going to go back to Houston.
Again. Here is the thing. I hate, because I like Jeff. I like you. I mean, and I love all you Utah Jazz listeners. But Jeff epitomizes the Utah Jazz fan. He's a deranged lunatic, is what he is.
I was looking for more of an. He's an optimist.
No,
He's
you're a
gutsy
deranged lunatic,
lunch pill kind of guy. Come on.
We know what Utah Jazz fans do. You know,
what's that?
Hence the Russell Westbrook situation. You're not that bad, but we know how delusional Utah Jazz fans are.
So I have to cut you off right there and say every fan base has crazy is the wrong word.
That's
has
true.
Absurd fans.
That's true. Okay.
The Utah Jazz fan base is nowhere even close to where this lunatic was.
Yeah.
I'm glad they suspended him. I'm glad they gave him a lifetime ban. He doesn't belong in the stands. Totally agree. Totally agree. But the majority of Jazz fans, 99.99999%,
thinks the Jazz is going to win in 6 games, which is completely absurd. So you and I both know that.
So let me tell you why.
Okay.
Let me tell you why.
Please do.
Okay, I'm going to go through position by position. Okay. I think the Rockets have the edge when it comes to the guard line. Would you agree? The Rockets play 3 guards.
Of course.
They got Harden, Chris Paul, who you referenced, and Eric Gordon. Okay. That's going to be a tall order for the Jazz.
Yes, sir.
So advantage Rockets. I'm right there with you. Forwards, we've got Joe Ingles and Derek Favors, and I'm going to throw Jay Crowder in there, my buddy Jay.
Okay, Jay Crowder.
I'm actually going to give the edge here
to
the Jazz. Okay, I think Joe Ingles is going to light it up from downtown. If he's hot, if Derek Favors can put up some offensive numbers, can bang in the post, and then Jay Crowder, if he can come in and get hot, I'm going to give him the edge over Eric Gordon, who again plays forward, but he's really a guard, and PJ Tucker. I'm going to take
because PJ Tucker is more a defensive forward.
Yeah, I'm going to say that the Jazz have the advantage on the forward line. So let's go to the center line. Okay, you referenced this earlier, Clint Capella versus Rudy Gobert.
Who are you taking?
I'm taking Rudy Gobert.
I'm
taking Rudy Gobert.
I knew you would say that.
So he has been snubbed from the All-Star game, right? Was not selected. I feel like he's got something to prove. He's going to play well defensively, and honestly, I think he's going to bring it offensively.
Okay, here's my thing. Clint Capella is just as good defensively as Rudy Gobert, but he's better offensively. And you would still give the advantage to Gobert?
So
in this situation, I would take the points.
So I'm going to agree with you historically.
over the defense.
But historically, but this is what I'm saying. I think Rudy's got something to prove, and I think he's going to elevate his game.
Right.
So you got the advantage with the guards.
Right.
I got the advantage with the forwards. I'm going to give the advantage to the centers. And let me tell you, I spent a couple years in Phoenix, so I'm a big Mike D'Antoni fan.
Okay.
Back to the SSOL, 7 seconds or less.
Okay.
The Steve Nash, Marion.
Right.
Mari
Steve Nash.
Stoudemire.
Yes, sir.
All those good guys. They got robbed, by the way. Do you remember that?
Spurs.
By the Spurs.
The Spurs. You
that
remember
whole
those
David
guys?
Stern when Mari Stoudemire stepped over
on
the
court.
line.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. But
The palaver.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. The reason why I'm going to use those exact numbers that you just gave me to prove my point. Okay? The NBA is a guards league. So Harden's going to get the majority of the calls. You know, they grind it down in the postseason, so Harden will have the ball over half the time. He will have the ball over half the time.
That's why he scores so many. Is he shoots the ball so many times.
Exactly. So he's gonna get the calls. Houston will control time of possession, just kind of like football. They'll have more possessions than the Jazz. They can't waste possessions dumping the ball into Rudy Gobert. Donovan Mitchell will shoot the ball. You heard it here first. I guarantee you, watch his stat line. It'll be something like 14 for 30. He'll shoot just below 50%. He'll have nights where he shoot 11 for 35. You know, so that's not going to cut it, man. That's not going to work.
So I agree with you. I think Donovan is going to be a huge part of the offense, and I think he's going to take a step forward. The one thing, not to cut you off, but the one thing that I'm going to go to in addition to, so I'm giving the Jazz the edge, but I'm also going to give it to the bench. And when I mean the bench, I mean the coaching staff.
Goodness.
I love me some Mike D'Antoni. Great guy, great coach. Quinn Snyder, I feel like, is going to step ahead this series and is really going to turn some heads with the scheme, with the matchups that he puts out there. I know I sound crazy. I'm perfectly fine to admit that, but I'm excited that in a week and a half from now, we're going to be getting back on this podcast. And one of us is gonna, one of us is gonna be right, and one of us is gonna be wrong, and the other is gonna have to say nice things about the other.
Yeah,
and
that's so true.
I'm prepared to do that. But my question to you, Jim, is: are you prepared to do that and say nice things about me and the Jazz?
I am not.
I figured as much.
I'm gonna be completely honest. You know, crow does not taste very good. It does not taste very good. Okay, here's one other key stat. You said bench. Bench. So we've got 2 15-point scorers coming off the bench. Okay, we can bring in Austin Rivers. We can bring in Eric Gordon. Who do you have off the bench that averages more than 2 points? Jay Crowder?
So more than 2 points. Jay Crowder for sure is a key piece of this.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a concession here.
Okay.
I think the Jazz are hurt by the Dante Exum injury. I think if Dante were in there, I think. Frankly, I don't think they're the 5th seed. I think they go up maybe they're 3rd. I think he's his length, his defense, his hustle, just his speed. I just think that I think they really miss that.
Actually,
so I agree with you. I think I give the bench in terms of the players. I do think I give the edge to your Rockets. Now I will say this: I think Grayson Allen, the rookie.
Oh my goodness!
Don't give me that look, man.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
Grayson
you're
Allen.
reaching. Yep, that's fine.
Well, that's all I got, buddy.
That's
all
what
I
we
got.
do. No,
Kyle Korver.
Okay.
Okay, I think you got a couple of shooters that are going to come in.
Yeah.
And they're going to live or die by those shots, right? I mean, again, I think Joe Ingles is going to have a good series. Yeah. But if his shots aren't dropping, the Jazz are in trouble. The Jazz, okay, so don't call me a crazy fan here. Let me just admit that. The Jazz have to play perfectly. Yes. They cannot miss in any area. Absolutely not. So I recognize it's a long shot. I'm an underdog here. But you know what? I'm going Jazz Nation.
But here's
I'm going
thing,
Utah
and
Jazz in 6.
I commend you for that. I commend you for that, for sticking with your team. As crazy it may sound, I think that's commendable. And for you to, come in here and talk to me, when you know you guys are going to take a beating in 6 games. I think it's admirable. It's admirable. I mean, you deserve a round of applause. I'm serious, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, Jeff.
Tim, I appreciate that. Well, I'm excited to see what happens.
Thank you.
The game kicks off, the series kicks off, I should say, Sunday, correct, in Houston.
Yes, sir.
And then back here, so two games in Houston, 2 in Utah. Keep talking.
And so, Jeff he had to take a quick commercial break. So we'd like to
the lights
thank
went
our
off.
sponsors,
Go ahead.
Oreo, for giving us this platform. So back to Jeff, guys.
Okay, so you got the Rockets, I got the Jazz. We're not going to break down each of these series as in depth, but let's just go through. Let's start at the top. Golden State Clippers. Let's make some predictions because, as has been noted on this podcast,
The opinions and predictions on this podcast are right 98.3% of the time.
Dan, thanks to you, you've helped our predictions improve.
Thank you.
So I appreciate that.
I'm going obviously Golden State.
Golden State, I agree. Golden State, probably in 4 games. I think Steph.
5.
You think 5?
They've got to, here's the thing, because, this obviously is the NBA. Conspiracies at work. Staples, first playoff game in a long time, so they've got to, pay for the concessions.
There you
and,
go. That
they've
makes
got to
sense.
pay for the arena, so they've got to let them win at least 1 game.
Look no further when you're talking conspiracy theorists. You know that.
Yes, sir.
You're
Yes,
itching
sir.
me where I scratch,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah.
All right, Houston, Utah. We're gonna disagree there. Portland, Oklahoma City. Portland's the 3 seed. Damian Lillard, your Weber State guy, right?
Weber State guy. Shout out to Weber State. Yes, I'm going to take the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I'm gonna agree with you. I think
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, and Paul
George,
just
I think
too
they're gonna
much.
bring it.
Now you talking? Now that one, I would go 7. I would go 7 games. That
could go the
series.
distance. I agree.
Yeah.
Denver, San Antonio, and let's just give some love to Denver for a minute. Denver's the team I think that has surprised a lot of people.
Yes. Yes,
I think
sir.
if there's a 7 seed that could beat a 2 seed, San Antonio, they're not my guys, but Popovich is a good coach.
Right.
They could get it done, but I'm going to go Denver in this one.
Okay.
Who are you going?
I'm going Denver as well. I'm going Denver as well on that. I like Denver.
The Nuggets. Let's jump over to the East. Milwaukee. Surprising a lot of people, but Milwaukee, Detroit. You going Bucks, the Greek Freak?
Bucks, best player in basketball, Giannis.
He's awesome. Super entertaining, athletic, good guy as well. Boston Pacers. This is an interesting series. Celtics are the 4 seed, have home court against the Pacers. The Pacers are without old Victor.
Victor Oladipo. Here is the thing. Okay, so I watch a lot of sports at home just in my spare time. This is probably one of the most intriguing series. Believe it or not, I'm taking the Pacers. You should watch the Pacers play ball. It reminds me of the old Spurs, like when they had Duncan, the big 3. I mean, they pass the ball, highly unselfish. I just think that there's too much turmoil, too much chaos, surrounding the Boston Celtics. And interesting side note, Smart might be out for a couple of weeks. So that's
like
going to be
Marcus
huge.
Smart?
No, I don't. Despise
he
Marcus
is
Smart. Oklahoma
insane.
State, I've hated him since he's been in the Big 12. Can't stand the guy. But he's a key component to what
He
they
is.
do
No, he's
defensively.
he's a bruiser.
And I think that that's going to hurt a lot. So I'm going to take the Pacers, 7 games.
I'm going to take Kyrie.
Okay.
I'm going to take the Celtics, but I agree. I think this one wouldn't surprise me if the Pacers got it done. And how interesting is that? Because Boston, I felt like, man, they were the favorite.
Well,
Everybody
see,
was
that's
like,
what I was
they were
thinking.
the solid
Serious.
team in the East, and then
Yes.
they got jumped by the Bucks,
Yes.
by the Raptors, by the Sixers. So anyway, we'll see what happens there. Sixers, Nets. Do you trust the process?
Yes. Nets, just brand new. Sixers, too talented, too deep. Jimmy Butler, Embiid, Simmons, JJ, too much.
I go Sixers. I agree. And as you heard right here on this podcast in a previous episode, I think there were 2 teams that LeBron James should have considered. I think the Lakers was a mistake. Team he should have was the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
Partly because, you could say Houston, but there's not enough balls to go around there
Yeah,
down in Houston.
yeah.
He comes into Utah, and man, he would fit well into this team. But the second team, and the team that I'm surprised he didn't, because I would have thought he would have stayed out east, 76ers, man, you put LeBron on that
Wow,
team.
that would have been amazing. That would have been. Hey,
Should have done it, LeBron. Instead, he went to Hollywood. Okay, so we're both going Sixers. I agree. That one's probably a sweep. Kudos to the Nets, though. I mean, I feel like they were a dumpster fire not 2 years ago, and they're
So true.
They're back
So
in the
true.
playoffs. I mean, things are looking up there. Toronto, Orlando.
Oh, I'm taking Raptors. Actually, I think the Raptors is the best team in the Eastern Conference, to be honest with you.
I agree.
To be honest
is that
with
okay
you.
that we can agree
yeah,
from time to
we can
time?
agree. As long as it's
Are we
not Rockets
friends, Dan?
Jazz. Yeah. Well, we are now until Sunday when we come to work Monday. And if the Rockets lose and you get slapped across the face, don't worry about it. It's all love.
I just feel like a sick day coming up.
Yeah. Just remember, it's all love. I do it in love.
Okay, so we're going to go Toronto. Next, do you want to pick the next series or you want to save that for next week?
Save it. Let's save it.
Okay.
Let's save it for next week.
Okay. Well, what are we missing? What other storyline are you looking forward to watching? What series do you think is the most intriguing here?
I honestly, like I said, it's boring, but I just like good basketball. I can't wait to see the Celtics Pacers, to be honest with you, because like the Jazz and the Rockets, I mean, that rivalry has always been there. We know what we're gonna get. I do. I know what I'm going to get from the Rockets. I know I'm going to get, 35 points from James Harden. I know I'm going to get 18, 12 assists from Chris Paul. I know I'm going to get 15 and 18 from Capella. PJ Tucker, I know he's going to have 6 points. 5 steals, couple of block shots. Austin Rivers, he's going to come in, throw up maybe 14 points. Eric Gordon, he's going to come in, put up another 17. The only thing that's pretty certain for the Jazz is Donovan Mitchell taking 30 to 40 shots a night. He'll average 25 points a game on 35% shooting. He might get to the line a couple of times. Rudy Gobert, 6 points, and he'll maybe have 20 boards. But, this not going to do you any good, man. Seriously, you need offense. I'm sorry. And Ricky Rubio, not going to provide you offense. Jingling Joe Ingles, the only thing Joe is going to be jingling is his keys on the way to unlocking his vacation home in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
There you have it.
I have one thing to say, and it comes from our President of the United States. Here it is. Donald, hit him.
Wrong.
That is
wrong. And he did the wrong thing. Wrong.
That is absolutely
Wrong.
proved over and over again.
Wrong. Wrong. It's wrong.
Good perspective. It'll be interesting to see. Again, you are, I would say, in the better position. Home court,
Yes,
got the
sir.
superstar. The Rockets were, a game away from the
Hamstring away.
NBA
Yes, sir.
Finals last year.
Hamstring away.
So, clearly, they're in a good position. It's interesting to me that both the Jazz and the Rockets started slow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
First month into the season,
Really
they
slow.
weren't great. And this is what kills me as a Jazz fan is when you lose to teams that you have no business of losing to. You look at it right now, we're a half a game down the stretch of boom. If we could be a game better, we'd get a different draw.
Yeah.
It'd put us in position, but you lose some of those games. And it's not just exclusive to the Jazz. Again, Houston started slow.
It's tough.
Golden
It's tough.
State dropped a couple that they had no business losing. That always happens. I get that, but
Right.
it kills you because, again, the greatest arena in all of professional basketball is right down the street here.
Yeah.
300 West South Temple, whatever the address is. I don't know. I'm making that up.
Sounds good.
But you know what I'm saying. So.
Yeah, I get it.
Dim, one last question for you or thought.
Shoot.
We went to dinner the other night. We were at the governor's State of Sport. Did you have a good time out there?
I had a great time. Great venue. Great people. Great stories. I was really impressed.
So I felt a little bit embarrassed because I dig this guy and I was just laughing. Kyle Gunther, you familiar with radio personality? Kyle
radio
Gunther?
personality.
So he gets up there and everybody's kind of serious. He's like, he's handing out a football award, right? And he played football at the University of
Right.
Utah
Yes,
up on the
of
hill.
course.
Anyway, he says football, ladies and gentlemen, is 90% mental and 20% physical.
Yeah. So
I was the only one laughing. I thought that was good.
yeah,
Kyle,
yeah.
well done. Maybe
Yes.
because, anyway,
yeah. And
we struggle with mathematics.
Mathematics.
Like each
I
other.
got it. Yeah.
That was pretty good, though.
Yeah.
But any key takeaways from there? Being at the house. Sadly, the guys on the sideline did not get a trophy or an award. But maybe next year.
It'll happen.
What do we got to do to get a trophy next year?
I was thinking about playing in the Huntsman Senior Games.
That's right.
I think
You're a couple years away from the senior games.
4 years.
4
away.
years?
And I really and truly think that I could dominate. I really do.
What position do you play?
I really do. I can play point guard, but I'm thinking more going track though.
You're gonna go track.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I'm gonna do the track thing. And I think I can handle other 50-year-old guys.
Do you still run?
Yeah, I still run a little.
Short or long distance?
Short. I mean, the last time I had an experience at East High, and we'll save that like for another episode. Pull hamstring, kind of shorten the career a little bit. But I still feel like that I can go out and give like a 60-year-old guy the business. I really do.
I can see that.
I feel like that can happen.
Have you ever run long distance? You ever run a half marathon or marathon?
No,
Okay.
no.
Shout out to my older brother who's running the Boston Marathon on Monday.
Oh, nice.
Which he's quite serious. I mean, you have to be to run Boston. I mean, you've got to qualify and all of that. So,
Yes.
So good luck to him. Anyway, shout outs going out the door here. Anybody we need to say adios to?
No, I think I've got all my shout outs out in the very beginning. But thank you, wonderful fans, for listening again. And as we all know, Jeff is such a great host, man. He is such a great host. And
You're feeling bad about what you said earlier to me.
I did.
Ladies and gentlemen, this will be the last time you hear Dim's voice on this podcast. He will not be invited back. I wouldn't do that to you. I do appreciate, again, you said this
Thank
on a
you.
previous episode, but you're a straight shooter. I mean,
Yes,
you come in
thank you.
here and you're going to call it like it is.
It's the only way I know.
And, I feel that I am similar, but part of this podcast is about being a crazed fan, is being a little bit, right? We're guys on the
Definitely are that.
sideline.
You definitely are that.
So anyway, I feel like I'm very comfortable sticking with my Jazz. And come on, Jazz Nation, rise up! It's time for a great series, and we got to help the team out. But watch for Rudy Gobert if he can bring it. Donovan if he's hitting. Joe, the vacation can come later. Joe,
Yeah, Jingling Joe.
put the headband on, buddy, and let's
Jingling Joe.
Let's knock down some threes.
Yes.
So, well, another great episode. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We will be back in a week or so, and we're going to have some reactions. So one of us is going to be right, one of us is going to be wrong. But bottom line, NBA basketball, good times. A lot of
Thank you.
fun. Okay, I'm Jeff. He's Dim, saying bye-bye.
The opinions and predictions on this podcast are right 98.3% of the time.